Hello, everyone. So, as you guys know, I'm Italy Jareli. I'm also one of the other Youth Arts Ed facilitators. And today we have a beautiful, well rounded keynote speaker for you all, Kaleena Berryman, who is a seasoned strategist, organizer, and education advocate with over 20 years of experience in developing leaders and implementing high quality programs and creating a culture within organizations that centers community empowerment, parent and youth leadership development, and political engagement. Most of her professional career has been with the Abbott Leadership Institute at Rutgers University, Newark. She is responsible for growing the Institute's youth development portfolio and helping to create within the city a cadre of youth leaders who are helping to shape its future. Currently, Kaleena serves as the executive director of Newark Youth Career Pathways Program, housed within the Newark Alliance. NYCP is a collective action organization serving 350 students in Newark and Essex County schools, preparing youth to thrive after high school. NYCP also provides year round youth development and career readiness education in partnership with local youth organizations, workforce learning opportunities, post secondary planning, and transition support. In 2021, she founded K. Berryman Council Consulting, advising organizations looking to improve their community facing work. For Arts at Newark, Kaleena provides development consulting for their Newark Parents Arts Ambassadors Fellowship. As an artist, Kaleena uses poetry to advocate for the needs of families facing prematurity, sharing her experiences as a preemie mom in her book, On the Day You Were Born. Poetry for the Preemie Mom's Journey. So without further ado, I'll pass it to our keynote speaker, Kaleena Berryman.
Thank you, Italy, but you did not have to say 20 like that. 20 years of experience. I was like,
It's honestly it's impressive.
put me off
Like,
guard. Thank you, Italy, for that beautiful, beautiful
absolutely.
welcome. It was a joy to hear your voice. And let's just take a moment to everybody unmute ourselves and give a round of applause for Artet New Jersey and this dynamic youth council. Let's just love it up with some whoop, some applause.
Hey.
You all deserve a round of applause. First, thank you to Arts at New Jersey, to Ms. Liskow, Ms. Kincaid, the entire team for centering young people because there is nothing that young people cannot accomplish when we center them, when we listen to them. Young people run me, okay? I listen to them because if we're really serious about creating a better world, creating better schools, creating better arts opportunities, they are the ones who know what they need best. They tell the truth and they have nothing to lose. And so congratulations to the council for pulling off such a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you to all of the young people and adults who are with us today. This is not a keynote, it's a we note. That's what I want to call it. So we are going to spend the next 30 minutes learning, growing, connecting together. So thank you for all the young people who decided that on a Saturday morning, what they would do is be together in community with us. I will tell you that every single space that you have the opportunity to be a part of is a space that can change your life. You are here. It's early on a Saturday and you are here. So make the most of this time here. Meet and talk to as many people as you can. I personally am where I am today because of the way I showed up in spaces, virtual, in person, or otherwise. And so be memorable today. Focus in today. Listen today. Inbox somebody. It's not inbox. This is what? Insta chat, side chat, whatever you call it. Do that today. Introduce yourself. Ask for an email address because the people in this room can connect you to jobs, opportunities. I had a student who wanted to travel abroad. We raised that money. I had a student who wanted to do an arts program. We raised that money. We are adults who are champions for young people. So that's my little thing. Take advantage of this time and space. And very much so proud of the Arts Council. All right. So we're going to use menti.com, okay? As I said, this is a we note and not a keynote because who wants to be lectured to early in the morning on a Saturday? So I'm going to pull up my screen and we're going to all go, or those of us who can, because you can also participate in the chat. and you can participate by voice. All right. There are many ways, but I'm going to actually go to menti.com, menti.com, and enter the code 434510 and 7. Okay. And once you've done it, all right, let me know in the chat or a thumbs up, but you're going to go to menti.com, menti.com, and you're going to enter the code 434510 All right. And as we go through the slides, the code and the menti.com will be there. All right. So menti.com. And if for some reason I am graciously asking us all, adults and young people alike, to come together in community on menti.com. But if for some reason you cannot, and I would understand because there are all kinds of challenges, we welcome your voice participation, and we also welcome your participation in the chat. So one more time, menti, menti.com, using the code 434510 Italy, are you in?
I am.
All right, good. Okay, so creating change, advocacy, agency, and voice is what we're going to be talking about today. So first, mic check 1 2 1 2. All right, we got to see where we are and make sure that everybody's here. So first question on our menti.com, morning vibe. All right, I need to check the vibes. I got to know who I'm talking to. So one, I rise with the sun. I love the mornings. I am a morning person. Mornings are great. I'm up with the sun. Not preferred, but I am used to it. You know, I'm not really into mornings, but I'm used to getting up. I'm here. I'm present. I'm ready to go. Wake me up at 12 p.m. You know, don't even bother me before 12. I am not feeling it. Wake me up at 12 o'clock, you know, but I'm here still. But I'm not necessarily a morning person. So it seems like we got a lot of people that are not preferred, but I'm used to it. Okay. All right. So I think we're in a good place. For those of you that are waking me up at 12 p.m., y'all are my people. But I'm so full of joy just from seeing that opening poem. It gave me chills. I'm seeing so many of the youth council and all of their dynamic work, the things you all are accomplishing in your schools and community. I am rising with the sun because of you. All right. So thank you. All right. Next up, mic check 1 2 1 2. What artistic talents do you have? I want to see who's in the room. So are you a graphic designer? Are you a musician? Are you a singer, songwriter? What are your talents? Are you a poet? Do you draw? Let's see what kind of people, what kind of artists we have in the room. So take a moment and tell us all of your artistic talents. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and I went to Arts High School, but I started my artistic journey at Chancellor Avenue School, where I studied dance and music. And so it was there that I really became the expressive person I am today. I auditioned for Arts High School, and I auditioned for dance, drama, television, and music, was accepted to all 4 programs, but placed in television communication. One, because it was the first year of the major and I think they needed students, but also because it was where I scored highest. So I was a television major, and I was a television major in college, but always a singer, a rapper. I rap. Yes, I got bars. And a music songwriter. I wrote songs for many years, and most recently a poet. So it looks like we have connection artists, traditional artists, visual artists, drawing and painting, graphic design, theater, painters, dancers, writers, playwrights, a yarn artist. I've never heard of a yarn artist. That's fantastic. Public speaker, bon vivant. What is a bon vivant? And whoever put bon vivant, are you willing to unmute and let us know what a bon vivant is? A digital artist, wood art, appreciator, educator, sculptor. Wow. Okay. So we have so many different types of artists in the room. I knew this was a lit space. The bon vivant person. Are you willing to unmute and tell us what that means?
Good morning. Yes, a bon vivant is just a person who is fond of good living.
Okay. Like the finer things in life. Is that what it means?
Yes, yes.
I'm a bon vivant too. I like that. Thank you. Okay. Well, bon vivant. All right. So let's see what's up next. Mic check 1 2 1 2. How much do you agree with the following statements? Art can get you through anything. All right. How much do you agree with that? No matter what's happening in your life, if you tap into art, it can get you through. Everyone has artistic talent. My school should offer more arts programs. All right. So those are the three things. Art can get you through anything. Everyone has artistic talent. My school should offer more arts programs. All right. So let's see. Most of us believe that art can get you through anything. I definitely believe that. I'm going to share with you the ways in which art has gotten me through the hardest times of my life. Everyone has artistic talent. I believe that. I believe that everybody can do something. And my school should offer more arts programs. If schools don't offer arts programs that are varied and diverse and reflective of the many different times of art, like the ones that were on the screen before this one, then how will we ever find a young person's artistic talent? We would never know if there's no exposure. So I dream of a world where the arts offerings within our schools are just as beautiful and complicated as the screen, including bon vivant. All right, because that should be a class too. How to enjoy the finer things in life on a budget. On a budget because we ain't got that much money, maybe. But how can you experience that? So thank you all so much for participating and for letting me get to know you a little bit better. All right, next question. And I want us to really take a moment to think about this because change often starts with us just thinking about what we would change if we had the power, if we could. And I live my life as Kaleena Berryman, Newark born and raised, a career of youth development, all of it centering arts in some way, an artist in my own right. My frame of reference in the world is always, how can I make something better? I have never existed in a space where I did not make it better. When I enrolled in William Patterson University, I became the president of the NAACP, and I started the first Black themed newspaper called Umoja on campus because we didn't have many voices. We were a minority and we didn't have voices. And so I went to the student government and I decided that we were going to have one and it was going to be called Umoja. And we had a few what do you call a newspaper? It was print issues. And I had to leave it better than where I found it. Also at William Patterson University, there was a lack of celebration for the African American and Latino educators within that school. And so we had as NAACP our first event to honor African American and Latino educators on campus. And so that theme of my life has always been with me. I'm always asking myself, if I could change something, what would that be? All right. And so from you all, the way other people perceive art, better access across the entire state, including rural and more southern towns. Love that. Make it more accessible for people with disabilities. Oh, who said that? Who said that? Are you willing to unmute whoever said that? Are you willing? Okay. Well, I'm going to follow up with that and say thank you. My son has cerebral palsy. He doesn't walk or talk. He's nonverbal. But when I tell you, he is an artist. He loves music. He loves to dance. And I love that he's in a school that honors his artistic talent. So you wouldn't even know how brilliant my son really is if you didn't see him in an art space. He is phenomenal. His name is Jared. You're going to see his picture soon. Try and keep people from dropping art classes over STEM classes. Oh, okay. I think less strict curriculum with rough guidelines to follow would encourage creativity and individuality. I wish everyone had dance and theater. Love these. I'm going to ask the youth council. I want two of the youth councils to tell me what their answer to this question is. So introduce yourself and your school and what your answer is. Two youth council members.
My name is Alexa Rowe,
Hi,
and my answer was to remove the stigma around the arts so everyone can enjoy arts education without judgment. And I think that's especially really important in my school because there's such a stigma around arts, like the arts in general, whether it's theater, whether it's band, whether it's painting, because everyone prefers athletics. But I wish that there wasn't a comparison between the two. And I wish it was more you can appreciate arts and athletics without there being a stigma against the arts and like a more appreciation for athletics.
I love that. I love that. And it's so true. And it's true everywhere. We celebrate athletics. And, I know at Arts High School, it was different. We were like, what's that show that used to come on? Fame or, the high school show. That's how it was for us. Art was life. But in a lot of other high schools, you don't necessarily have that. So I think that's wonderful and brilliant. Thank you for sharing. Who's up next? Arts Council members, what would you
Hi.
change?
Hi, my name is Naomi Jones. My answer was to encourage more jobs in the arts. I feel a lot of times people think that the arts just has to be a hobby and that you will just be a starving artist and struggling to make ends meet. And I think we need to have more spaces and environments where we can encourage these jobs to pursue your dreams, that they are more than just hobbies and dreams, and to keep going with what you're really passionate about.
I love that. And I think that when I was growing up, if people wanted to do arts jobs, they were so limited in what we thought that meant. But now every single career path has an artistic connection. So I love that you said that, Naomi. I'm an executive director of a youth program that does career readiness. And before that, leadership development. But everything is art. We have social media, we make videos, we're starting our own podcast. We filmed the first episode yesterday. Art is everywhere. But if we don't have the knowledge about the career options, which you guys have a panel about that later, so you might want to tune in, then we can't tap into it. So brilliant, love it. All right. Thank you everyone for participating in that. So how art healed me. Okay, so as I told you guys, I've always been an artist. I was in all the different programs as a kid. And this is a picture of me as a kid. And I love this picture because I felt like that jacket was my expression of my artistic stance in life. And so when we were getting ready to take this family picture, my mom wasn't really too big into pictures, so she sat it out. I said, can we wear these jackets because they're fly? And I feel like they represent who we are. And so always been encouraged to be creative and loud and bold. And for the most part of my life, I was kind of sheltered and didn't really have to face too much what I perceived as adversity. Yes, my mom sometimes would send me to the store with a note to buy food on credit because we were poor and struggling, but it didn't feel like poor and struggling to me. It felt like love and community, and the store always looked out for us. So it wasn't until my son Jared was born. He was born preterm at 24 weeks. He was 1 pound, 5 ounces. This is him like 3 months into his NICU stay. But he was so frail, so tiny, and so sick. And the doctors told me that my son might not survive. And I use this picture because one, it's a beautiful example of the power of art, right? My frail baby who can't breathe on his own, if you remove those, he would pass away. The oxygen was keeping his lungs working. But the fact that he's reaching up is such a powerful photo. And it was just a moment that I caught at the perfect time, but it showed his resilience. But it was a really hard time. I spent 6 months in the NICU with him every day, sitting by his incubator. And when it happened, I had to figure out, how can I turn this pain into purpose? How can I make this mean something for me? But also, how can I, because like I said, I'm a change agent. So any space that I occupy, I have to make better. And I knew that if I was going through such devastating pain, that there were other mothers and fathers who were too. And so I wrote a book of poems called Stronger Than We Thought, Poetry for the Preemie Mom's Journey. And that is how I turned my pain into purpose. Now, I was still a youth program developer. I was still a manager. I still was all those other things. But at that point, I became a preemie mom advocate. From that, I developed a community called the Preemie Parents Club on Facebook that has about 10,000 members. I developed Praying for My Preemie, which is a Facebook page that has about 16,000 followers. And I started a nonprofit called Preemie Parents Club that provided support in hospitals for mothers. So using art to turn pain into purpose, to create change so that the NICU experience, which was so lonely for me, would not be so lonely for others. And now my beautiful boy is 12. Well, he'll be 12 next week. His birthday is April 27th. And I know that if not for me turning my pain into purpose, my son might not be alive, because the doctors told me it would be a miracle if he lived. And so that poetry and writing my feelings and covering him in music and books and just immersing him in arts while he was growing, I know that it has helped him to thrive. So thank you all for allowing me to share that with you. And I'm sure that all of you have examples of how arts have helped you to heal. But now, it helped to heal me, but how can we think about arts as a way to heal our community, to create change, advocacy, agency, and voice? All of you have artistic talent that is powerful, and you are utilizing it in some way in the spaces that you occupy. But I want you to begin to think about, which the council has already done with their advocacy cohorts and their leadership positions, how can you use the art and your position to create change in the spaces that you occupy? All of you listed a few minutes ago the things that you would make different. What if I were to tell you that you have everything you need to make that a reality? If you want the stigma to be removed around arts education as compared to athletics, you can make that happen in your school. If you want to make sure that more young people have access, you can make that happen in your school. You are the most powerful entity in this country. And in fact, change has only ever been made because of young people speaking up and taking a stand. So I believe that, but I want to know what you all believe. Do you have the power to create change in your school and community? How do you feel about that? Do you have the power to go in and shake things up, to tell people what they're doing wrong, and to make sure that it's made right? All right, so I want to hear from you all. Do you have power? Yes, I know my power. I am unsure of my power, or I don't have any power. I don't think that I have any power. And it looks like the majority knows their power, so that's good. But I'm talking to everybody today. If you know your power, I want to show you how to activate it. If you're unsure of your power, I want to confirm for you that you have some, and there are ways that you can tap into it. And if you feel you don't have any power, let's work on making sure that you can get and tap into the power that is innately yours. Just by existing, you have power. Just by existing. And I want you to remember that. Just by existing, I have power. And it has always been the efforts of ordinary, everyday people that have changed our world. There is not a single change, social justice, condition, educational justice, that was made because an entity felt it should do better. It was always people, and often young people. All right, so we have 14. Yes, I know my power, power to the people. 9, I am unsure of my power. And 2, I don't have any power. All right, everybody's equal here. I'm going to try to change everybody's mind and take it to the next level by the end of this. So who knows who this is? Can anybody tell me what this picture represents?
Well, on the right, that is George Floyd,
Yeah.
with Derek Chauvin with his knee on his neck. I'm not really sure what the left image and what the middle image encapsulates, but
Okay.
I'm excited to hear.
So that's perfect. That's perfect, Italy. That is Daniela Frazier. The young girl in the picture is Daniela Frazier. And on May 25th, 2020, Daniela Frazier was walking to the store with her sister, and she saw George Floyd being attacked by the police. And she decided to pull out her camera. 17-year-old high school student. Daniela Frazier spoke out through her attorney in an interview. Her cell phone video of the fatal incident in Minneapolis shocked the world. It helped lead to charges against 4 officers and protests around the globe. But she wasn't trying to be a hero. She had no idea that her capturing that photo would not only lead to justice for George Floyd, but would also spark a national and international movement against police brutality. She even says, or they say about her, if it wasn't for her bravery, presence of mind, and steady hand. I just want to take a minute. Bravery. How brave she had to be in the midst of that, to pull out her camera, not to ridicule, but to capture an injustice. Her presence of mind to know that it was important, and her steady hand, because I'm sure she was afraid. I'm sure she was shaking. It was horrible. That man lost his life before her eyes. But her steady hand provided such a powerful tool that no one could deny what happened to him. And unfortunately, when it comes to violence against Black and brown people, that's what it requires. No denial that an injustice has been done. Her willingness to post the video and share her trauma with the world. Because she did that, all 4 of those police officers would still be on the streets, possibly terrorizing other members of the community. That video was art. It was sad art, but it was her using the power of her camera to shine a light on something horrific that not just happened to George Floyd, but happens to hundreds and thousands of people across this country every single year. This photo I saw years ago, one of my favorites. And as an education advocate, we're always fighting for more and more resources for young people to be able to have a fair opportunity to education and equal access. But here's a young boy in the Philippines doing his homework by the light of a McDonald's. And a medical student named Joyce Terra Franca in the Philippine city of Cebu captured this photo of 9-year-old Daniel Cabrera doing his homework on a makeshift desk, kneeling on the floor in front of a McDonald's. And when I saw this photo, it touched my heart. And it made me realize that access to education is something we really can't take for granted. And look what he was able to do in his pursuit to learn. She was a regular girl, a medical student, sharing a photo, but her sharing of that photo resulted in thousands of dollars being donated to young Daniel. If that's not justice for his family, I don't know what is. She said, for me as a student, it just hit me a lot, like big time. This kid, he doesn't have anything, but he has dedication to study. And then Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Now, I know there's a singer in here. They came on, it was an adult, and they came on singing. Can you hum us a little bit of What's Going On by Marvin Gaye? There's a panelist who can sing.
Mother, mother.
All right.
There's too many of you crying.
Yeah. All
brother,
right.
brother.
Yeah. Oh, you done? Okay. There's far too many of you dying. Marvin Gaye's song, What's Going On, was written by, and thank you, Daryl. Thank you so much. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On was actually written by Ronaldo Obi Benson of the Four Tops, because in the 1970s, we were coming into a new age of the civil rights movement. There were protests happening against the Vietnam War. Police brutality was at an all-time high in this country. Well, not really an all-time high, but it was a big issue in the country. And just like today, as we witness what's happening in Israel and Gaza and the struggle of the people of Palestine and just all of the things in this world that we are witnessing, we're asking ourselves the same question. You can play What's Going On by Marvin Gaye today and it'd be just as relevant. And so that song was a catalyst for change. Marvin Gaye recorded it after deciding to change the themes in his music to respond to the unrest he saw around the country, asking himself, with the world exploding around me, how am I supposed to keep singing love songs? The juxtaposition of its jazz melody and pain lyrics captured the attention in Detroit, where Gaye had lived for years, and protesters there used the empowering song to spark change. What's Going On helped people realize these changes could happen. So, our last few moments together, I want to talk about how you all, if you have not already considered becoming advocates for change, can begin to use your arts gifts to make your world and community a better place. The definition of social justice is the objective of creating a fair and equal society in which each individual matters, their rights are recognized and protected, and decisions are made in ways that are fair and honest. Treating people right and fair and good. And unfortunately, that only happens when those of us who are willing to put ourselves on the line speak up. So, what are some of the social justice issues that you all care about? All right, this I think is our last interactive slide. So what are some of the things that you care about? Environmental justice, educational justice, women's reproductive health, Black maternal health, immigration rights. What are some of the issues? Trans rights, LGBTQ rights, racial equality. Love it. What are the issues that matter to you? And the good thing about it is that an issue is large, but sometimes we have to fight social justice issues within our household, within our community and neighborhood, within our schools, within our state. So you can decide, where do you want to make change first? In my family, as a mom of a child with disability, I can't call on the world to see my child as equal if my family doesn't. So that's where I started, educating and empowering my family to be inclusive of my son, to see his brilliance and celebrate him. I had to teach people how to do that. And so as you guys think about change, change often starts within your home, in your community, and in your families. That's where you can kind of get your feet wet and then begin to move forward as you recognize your power. Environmental, ADA, racial equality, environmental issues, Black liberation, women's rights, equitable representation, abortion rights. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Is there anybody who would like to tell me a bit about their social justice issue, the issue that matters to them? Any one of the attendees or the council members or even the adults in the room? Would anybody like to raise up an issue and why it matters?
Hi, my name is Laisha Esteves, and I chose environmental justice. I think it's very detrimental, like the harm that I guess like humans are really causing to the earth. Recently, I participated in like a junkator like competition. I'm going specifically into like the fashion route and how like overconsumption as like not even just clothes, but just like products in general, especially in the rise from 2020 to now because of like online stores and all that, it's been like on a rise. And how multiple issues like overpopulation and even like lack of resources, eventually, I know this is scary, but like water will be like scarce because Yes, 2% of fresh water of the world is fresh water, and only 1% is accessible. And the way that we're consuming it is like too fast for it to be able to replenish. And it's not just water. Same thing with the production of food and just like anything in general that is being sold to the market. I think there's like an overconsumption of it. And I think as a population, or at least as like a country, like America is like the leading the leading cause.
Wow.
It's really important to at least get people aware so that they can begin change.
Laisha, I didn't know any of that. That was powerful. So I hope that you are taking on that cause in some formal way because you just ran it down. And you remind me of someone that is actually going to be shown in a minute. So are you actually in the fight for environmental justice in your school or community?
I am trying to like the best I can, especially since I participate in Junkator. It's like a fashion competition where we create something only solely out of like materials that are being like thrown out and have no purpose. Because that's specifically what I'm into. But I like to tell people everywhere that I can to like be aware.
Wow, that is fantastic, Laisha. Thank you for sharing that. And it's kind of right on point because of the next person that we're going to talk about. So, Laisha knows her why. And that's the first part of advocacy and agency. Agency is when you take charge of your life and you take charge of the things that matter to you, and you feel that you have a place and a power in speaking up for those things and control over your life and how you experience the world. And so Laisha laid out to us what she cares about, environmental justice very specifically. And so when you start to go into advocacy, Laisha, if you want to do this, and I think that your what you're doing now absolutely is living advocacy out loud. But as you begin to raise awareness about what's happening with water and our overconsumption of different materials and foods, that you understand your why. Because advocacy is hard and it takes a long time and it takes sleepless nights and pushing forward. And so you have to have a strong why in order to stay committed. And so, what do you care about? What are you able and willing to do? And what are you willing to lose? If you're not willing to lose something in the name of environmental justice, trans rights, LGBTQ rights, ADA, if you're not willing to lose something, whether it be time, friends, people in power liking you, money, opportunity, right? Because Laisha, what if someone offered you a wonderful job after high school, but they are a part of the overconsumption problem with the fashion materials? Are you going to take that job because it pays well? Or are you going to be willing to lose that opportunity to stand on your moral ground? Those are decisions that we have to make. And so I love that you brought up environmental justice because one of the people we want to highlight is Greta Thunberg. Are you familiar with her, Laisha? Greta Thunberg?
I think so. I can you remind me?
Absolutely. I'll remind everyone. So Greta Thunberg is a climate crisis activist. And honestly, Laisha, she sounds like you. Like you and her, hearing you speak and hearing her speak is so similar. She's from Sweden, and her issue is challenging world leaders to take immediate action against climate change, immediate action about environmental issues. And in fact, she's laid out on the ground in front of the parliament to stand for what she believes in. But she's lost a lot. Greta has dealt with, and the next slide, she's dealt with death threats, daily threats on social media. We are told that we are brainwashed. We cannot think for ourselves. We are being used. A lot of time when young people are activists, people always think that there's somebody else using them. No, no. Greta has done her research. She is informed and she is passionate. And at just 17 years old, she began this fight for environmental justice across the nation. And she's one of my favorite youth leaders. Do your research. And Laisha definitely did hers. Understand your issue. Talk to others and weigh possible solutions and their consequences. If you decide to take on a social justice issue, you have to do your research. You have to know it in and out. You have to know what other solutions have been tried before yours. And then you start to weigh your options around potential next steps. Is it that we create an environmental justice club? Is it that we go to lawmakers and change policy within our community about how waste is handled? Is it that we start a petition to stop another a landfill or something that's detrimental opening up in our community? You have to decide based upon your research what the best next step is and be persistent. And you will win those causes that you're committed to. We always do. Is your solution worth fighting for? So after you've done your research and you've decided that there's a first step that you want to take, ask yourself, is this worth fighting for? Does it solve the problem beyond this moment? Some solutions are quick. They only help one person, or they get rid of an issue or problem at the moment. But you want to look for solutions that if you leave, the solution still remains. The problem is still solved. Okay? So an example of that might be, my school doesn't have good teachers. The first level of solution may be that we're going to get rid of, we're going to advocate for these 3 teachers to be removed from our school. But a higher level of that is we're going to advocate for a policy that requires young people to interview teacher candidates before they're hired, which will forever improve the quality of teachers because young people know and can sense a good educator. So you have to think about the level of change that you want to create and commit to it. There's some things that can be immediate, getting rid of a couple of teachers that aren't good. Then there are some that you got to think about, when I leave, how can I make sure that change continues? And change that gives people a sense of power, like requiring students to interview teacher candidates, that gives students a place of power in that school. It changes the dynamic of power, and it lives on beyond just that moment and just your being present. All right? So one example of that, and I've gone over, okay, it's time to wrap it up. So one example of that is young people in a program that I used to lead got together, wrote a grant, and won $200,000 to start college success centers because they felt that schools were not properly empowering young people equally to explore their post-secondary plans. They started the college success centers in 2015, and those centers still exist to this day, almost 10 years later, still run by young people and still helping hundreds of young people in Newark through their post-secondary planning process. And all those kids in that picture are old now. And last but not least, use your gifts. Use your gifts. Speak out and get creative. Your poetry, your art, your songs, your talent. Use your gifts as your advocacy tool. Find out who the decision makers are and make sure that they hear from you, and seek advice and counsel from others as you go through your advocacy journey. And I end with my contact information because this is just the beginning. And so if any of you would like to connect beyond today, if there's any issue that you shared that you want to take on, something that you want to change, I am personally committing to being your advocacy coach. There is nothing that we can't accomplish, all right? So once again, congratulations to our phenomenal youth council on this beautiful space. And I look forward to the rest of the day. And thank you for allowing me to start it off as your Keynote speaker. You all were really awesome. So thank you, thank you, thank you.